Thank you for joining me today. My name is Emily Newberry, and I'm the Research and Scholarship Librarian at the Thompson Library. And today we're going to be talking about Google Scholar. It's a really great tool. You might have heard of it. You may have used it. I'm going to go over why you might want to use it and some of the use scenarios that would be good reasons why you might want to use Google Scholar. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. So here's our agenda for today. So first we'll talk about what is Google Scholar, and then we'll talk about how to find it, why you should use it, and then there are some ways that you can connect our library resources with Google Scholar so that you can see what's available for you to download as a PDF, and then just some other tips for why you may want to use Google Scholar. So first off, what is Google Scholar? Google Scholar, it's a separate search engine within the Google environment that only searches scholarly content. So it's going to search for those articles that are published in academic journals and other sorts of places like conference proceedings. So there's a bunch of stuff in there. There's a study done by PLOS1, Public Library of Science 1, which is an online open source journal. And they estimate that about 75 to 90% of the scholarship that's in the English language will show up within Google Scholar. So it can be a really great way kind of tap into some of that research, especially if you don't have access to a lot of paid databases, which may be the case after you graduate. While you're here, you'll have access to all sorts of things, and we'll show you kind of how to connect these two to make it even better. But Google Scholar can be a great tool in your toolbox if you use it right. It can also be frustrating because, like I say, sometimes it'll show you that things exist, but it may be challenging at first to figure out how to access it unless you connect to the library. So if we keep watching, we will learn how to do that too. So how do I get to Google Scholar? There's two different ways that you can get to Google Scholar. The first one is you can go directly to Google and you can Google Scholar. If you go there directly, Google will not know that you're part of the University of Michigan Flint family and that you have access to all of our paid databases. So you may end up seeing articles that are available, but you won't be able to download them. But there's a way to connect our two services, which I will show you at the end of this database. Another way that you can get there directly is in our A to Z list of databases from the library homepage. We do have a Google Scholar link in there that if you click on it, it'll ask you to log in. And then from then on, you'll see only U of M-Flint. Well, I shouldn't say only. You'll see content that we have available, and you'll see the little sign next to it that says download from U of M-Flint. We'll see that later too. So why should you use Google Scholar? We have all sorts of databases that are paid, that are really great resources while you're here, like I said. But there's some things in Google Scholar that you may not be able to easily find in those databases. So theses and dissertations, those are all those papers that are written when people are getting their master's or their doctorate. Those often are not in the regular databases. There are some databases that contain those, but it's kind of nice to see those, in one single search with other things. Technical reports, guidelines from government agencies, court opinions, patents, and then there's other gray literature. And what gray literature is it's just literature that wasn't published in scholarly journals, but does have a scholarly lean to it. So like I said, some of these things like government reports may not be necessarily published in a journal. However, the government obviously puts a lot of research behind different guidelines or different government publications that you may want to use within a scholarly context. So Google Scholar can bring some of that to your attention that you may have a challenge finding otherwise. So connecting Google Scholar to the Thompson Library, let's go take a look live. So I'm going to click here. And then here we are in Google Scholar. So the way Google Scholar kind of just dumps you into this page is kind of stripped down, but this is Google Scholar right here. And so what we can do from here is just start searching things. So if I start searching for something like social media and mental health, it's going to bring me to a whole list of results. You can see here about 4,160,000. So just like Google, you're going to see a lot of results. This is a very broad search, so obviously I'm getting a lot of results, but there are ways to filter on the side, just like in other databases. You can say, let's say we just want the last year. That reduces it quite a bit. You can do, if you'd like, review articles, which you may not be familiar with yet, but there's articles called systematic reviews, scoping reviews. If you're interested in those kinds, you can filter for that. And then if you do want patents, you can include that in your search as well. But from here, you can see there's some links on the side, and these links may or may not end up taking me to what's called a paywall. It means that I don't have access to these articles because I'm not a paying member of the public. However, like I said, there's a way that we can connect our library with our Google account so that we can see what's available. So if we go up to this little hamburger icon in the upper left, down here, there's a settings section. And if we go here, it gives us a few options, one of which is this library links section. So if we come here, we can look up a library that we're affiliated with. So for us, something's going on right now with it. I'm not sure what's going on. If you look up University of Michigan, it won't come up, but if you look up UM-Flint, it should come up here, UM-Flint Thompson Library. And if we click this and click save, then you'll see it begins to show us what the content that University of Michigan Flint has available. So now you can see this find at UM-Flint every time you log in. And if we click here, it should take us back to our library where we can then go to a journal and access those articles by downloading it. So that can be a really, really fantastic way to get to the content and to know what you actually have access to. For some of these other ones, if you don't see at UM-Flint, you can try clicking on it, and occasionally you'll find a free version of an article that is made available, so you can download the PDF from there. And a couple other things that I want to show you while we are in Google Scholar is, aside from linking to the library, to give you some information here, you can get, a little bit of the abstract here. Underneath here, though, you can do things like save these. So if you're interested in reading these again, there's a little star you can click, and then those will go to this section here called My Library. So let me go ahead and create a new file if we'd like to. So I'm going to create one called Mental Health Social Media. And then let's go ahead and save a couple more to that Mental Health Social Media. So this is, as you can see, a really kind of easy way to get a bunch of articles stored for yourself right away. So here is, if I click on My Library up here in the upper right-hand corner, we can see all of the articles that I've saved. But if I go to this Mental Health Social Media, you can see those 3 that we just saved. And then if you ever decide you want to get rid of them, you can delete them from that list right by clicking delete here. If we go back, you can see there's also options to cite. This is really great here because you can see how many times this article has been cited by others, and that can be a really useful thing, especially if you want to see the articles that are more cited and more important within a field. The higher the number, probably the better and more well-known an article is. So for example, up here at the top, we see some that are 18, 71. This probably is going to be a pretty good article if 71 other people have used it within their articles. And then there's also this little option to import into EndNote. This is going to import into a file called an EndNote web file. The potentially better version, though, is if you click underneath where it says Cite, not only does it give you a copy and pastable version of the citation in multiple styles, but down here at the bottom, if you're using EndNote, which is one of the citation services that we use, or if you just want to download it as a .ris file, which all of the citation management software should use, you can do that. So I can download it here, and then I have this little file up here that I can bring into EndNote. And if you're interested in using EndNote, pay attention because we have upcoming series on EndNote. We can show you how this works as well. There's a lot of things you can do in Google Scholar, as you can see here. And if you ever have any more questions about different things, please feel free to contact me because I'd love to go through some. So here's some other tips just before we sign off for why you might want to use Google Scholar. It's an easy way to find literature outside of the scholarly journals. It uses less rigid searching. So as you saw, I kind of just put in some natural language, social media, and mental health, and it gave me a lot of results. Sometimes some of the databases can be a little bit more rigid about the keywords or the search terms that you use. So sometimes I'll come into Google Scholar and just type in what I think something is called. And then it can be a great way to harvest additional keywords and search terms if you look through those articles that show up in your results. And then as we saw, sometimes free articles that aren't available in our library may show up, and we can download them and access them. And then Of course, we can get the citations to be able to export them into EndNote or another citation management software, and those can be really, really handy features as well. So I hope you found this helpful. Are there any questions? And if not, feel free to reach out. Here's my name, my email address, and then if you'd like to make an appointment, I'd love to be able to sit down with you and we can talk through any of these research issues, research tools, anything that you have questions about. So thanks for attending today, and I hope this was helpful.
Thank you for watching this recorded webinar. Find upcoming webinars to register for at libcal.umflint.edu.